Hi Kevin, Property Soldier here. So I wanted to do a video in order to give some tips and help and advice for people that have service accommodation businesses, and obviously in light of what's been going on, the bookings have been drying up or cancelling, which is only to be expected, and so we definitely all need to try and get through this. And there are certain things that you can be doing to help you get through this downturn. But one thing I will say is that there are quite a few people, people that I mentor, people that that are in my communities and Facebook groups, etc., that are currently fully booked with their SA units. So several units fully booked, and that is because they have been implementing the things that I'm going to be covering in this video. So definitely worth having a look and checking the different options out. You may have already done some, you may be doing some, but you never know, there may be some things that you hadn't thought of. So I'm going to also cover some of the government help that has been announced, that and those that are applicable to serviced accommodation. So I'm going to list some of those things. But what I'm also going to do is post a link to the government website that gives you more clarity and information on the different things that I've mentioned. And it's worth checking in on this link, because they do update it, and there are certain things that have appeared today that weren't there yesterday, so definitely worth, it's a live link, so have a little look. I'll post the link in the comments section so that you can just click on that link and save that link yourself. So as soon as I've done this live video, I will post in the comments section. So anyone who's got any comments or questions themselves, then just pop them in the comments and I will get to those after I've finished doing this live. So business rates, so you can get a 12-month holiday for your serviced accommodation units, those that are on business rates for their SAs. Now, those of you that are on paying council tax, yes, you could try and retrospectively apply for business rates and then get complete business rates exemption, but we don't know. There's no way of knowing whether or not you would be able to retrospectively get that in under this coronavirus situation. But ultimately, if you are currently on business rates, then you can get a 12-month holiday. The existing rules on business rates is the small business rates relief, and so if you have multiple units on business rates, then you might well be paying business rates, but if you are one of those, then you can get a 12-month holiday on your business rate, so definitely worth checking that one out. The coronavirus job retention scheme, also you can have a little look at that by clicking on the link. And ultimately, if you do have employees on PAYE, then the government are going to fund 80% of their wages up to £2,500 wage. And so at the moment it hasn't been implemented, you can't actually get that money. So at the moment what employers are doing is paying that themselves, and the promise from the government is that they will then reimburse those employers 80% of their wages. So what a lot of employers are doing is furloughing that's the term, furlough their employees, so the employees can go home, and ultimately you can still be paying them 80% of those wages, or at least the government will replace 80% of their wage, so you don't have to lay them off during this time. So that's definitely worth exploring that avenue. Instead of just closing down your business, you could be doing that, and obviously your employees could also be working from home, so definitely worth exploring that. Business rates interruption loans, you can, if you are on business rates, then you can get a loan. Okay, so you can get a loan, but remember it is a loan, so you can explore that. And 10 grand funding for those businesses receiving small business rates relief. So a £10,000 grant, which is obviously a grant, not a loan, for those receiving small business rates relief. So definitely worth having a look at that one. You can defer VAT and income tax payments. So defer doesn't mean you don't have to pay it, but you can, if you are struggling and cash flow is a bit of an issue, you can pay that at a later date. So have a look at the link for that. And there are other schemes and other help that is available. I won't list them all, but have a little look in the link once I've posted it in the comments to see whether or not any of those might apply to you and help you. So some other things that you can do in order to maximize your bookings. Contact hospitals. So definitely be contacting the local hospitals, because guess what? The hotels have been shutting down, and therefore the key workers, people that are coming in from out of town in order to work in the local hotels, where are they going to stay? So at the moment you can definitely be accommodating key workers in your serviced accommodation units, and so you should be contacting the local hotels. I've done it myself. I've just asked to speak to the person responsible for accommodation. You normally get through to a switchboard and they will put you through. And I've been talking to a couple of different hospitals on this, and they've been saying, okay, send us your units, send us your website, and give us your rates, and do things like that. You might want to decide to fix a rate that covers your cost, or you might want a bit more. Ultimately, what we're doing is saying that it's going to be a self-contained unit, and there's washing machine and drying facilities, etc., and so that people can stay in the properties and launder their own bedding, and so that makes it, you know, an isolation type scenario, doesn't it? And no interacting with people. So offer your services to key workers who are working in the NHS. Remember, it's going to get a lot busier, isn't it? Unfortunately, the hospitals are going to get a lot busier, and these hundreds of thousands of retired nurses and doctors that are coming back to work in the NHS, well, where are they going to stay? So definitely offer your accommodation to be housing these people, and get in touch with the hospitals in order to do that. So stay close to other operators in your area. You know, you can be paying referrals for any bookings that you get that they might not be able to accommodate. Get on Google. So Google My Business. Actually Google My Business and follow the steps and get your essays listed on Google. It's free, and your link to your website can be there. Your business phone number can be there. So when people are going on Google looking for accommodation, they might be looking for isolation units. They might be hospital key workers needing accommodation. That's where they can find you, okay? And make sure you've got your 5-star reviews. Copy and paste them onto your website so that you stand out above your competition. Ramp up your other marketing avenues like Facebook ads. Go into different Facebook groups offering your accommodation up. Your local Facebook groups, get into those and get posting in those about your service accommodation units. Call local businesses, yeah, absolutely. Universities, remind them what you are offering. You know, people might want isolation units, and so you can be providing that, can't you? You might just want to make sure that you're set up so that there's no interaction with people, so you can be sending the key codes, the laundry, everything that's needed in the property can be in the property. You can even have, you know, care packages in terms of some sealed food stuffs and things like that in the property for people that they've got. Sanitizers, you know, all of that stuff can be in the property, and no need to meet people, etc. You can have key code access for them. Okay, run promotions on booking.com, offer other discounts on long stays, absolutely. Anyone that cancels you, ultimately they've cancelled, you can offer them a discount, so you've got their details because they previously booked, and you can be reaching out to them, offering them a discount to come back and stay once it is all over. There was a reason why they booked you in the first place, so it's highly likely that they will be coming back. So don't just forget about the people that have cancelled. They are future business for you as well. Set yourself apart from the others. What can you offer to stand out? You know, can you accommodate people's pets? Okay, people, if they're going to isolate, they're going to want to isolate with their pets, aren't they? So change that. If you want to be getting bookings, i.e. change your terms and conditions and you know what you will allow. So as an example, pets can definitely be one of those. Now, some food delivery is still taking place, I'm led to believe, so absolutely you cannot be offering, find out from the local food delivery companies and see whether or not still operating. If they are, then you can offer that, can't you, to your guests, that there is still the ability to get food delivered. You could advertise that you are contributing to a local charity for any bookings that you get. Again, that's going to help you stand out. I'm not going to be covering all lots and lots of. I just want to pick out some really important ones. So if your extra marketing isn't working for you, then with Rent to SAs, you could investigate, or you could ask the landlord whether or not you can get a payment holiday or a rent holiday. We know people that are doing this, and the landlords are playing ball with that, and so that's definitely something that you should explore as well. You could potentially let the property out with the landlord's permission to a tenant instead, and so the tenant could come in and pay the rent, and you can help the landlord by finding a tenant. So you can go on UPad and Open Rent. You can go on sites like that, even on Facebook Marketplace and Gumtree. You can find tenants that way, make sure they get tenant referenced, but ultimately you could be putting a tenant in a property that you were doing a Rent to SA on, and so the tenant takes over the liability of paying that rent. That is an option for you. You could exercise your break clause. So if you have a break clause in place, then by all means, that is what a break clause is for. You could do that in order to hand the property back, but I prefer to work with the landlords and see if you can find a solution, because it could be that you can put a tenant in much quicker than it takes to exercise a break clause where you're still paying the bills on the Rent to SA. On your own properties, absolutely, you could do long-term let instead of SA. Properties that you manage for others, you could potentially give those back, but ask them what they want to happen and work with the owners of property that you are managing for as SA. But ultimately, don't give up yet. Try and get your properties booked using these suggestions and any other suggestions that you see from other people that are posting in different forums, etc. Give them a try. There's definitely worth trying all the different avenues and just see what is changing. The marketplace is changing every single day, and so key workers that need to be accommodated is actually the one that is working the most right now in the NHS, or any other key workers actually that need to still be working, etc. So give those a try. The other one the final one that I'm going to finish on is hotels. Now, hotels are having to cancel bookings with their guests, and these hotels might even be feeling really bad about it. And I'm talking about decent sized hotel chains, but also guest house B&Bs. There might be people that they really hate having to cancel on them because they might really need accommodation in your town. So reach out to these hotels and offer maybe even a referral to the hotel in order to pass the booking on to you, and so you'll definitely be able to get bookings by doing that as well. So I'm going to finish on that. I'm going to go and have a look at Boris's latest announcement, but hopefully you found those useful. Type any questions that you got into the comment section. I'm going to put the government link, so it's obviously applicable to UK. Those are people that see these posts overseas, only applicable to UK. But if you're in the UK and it applies to you, then please click on the link, have a look and see if any of the schemes and offers apply to you, and if any of those can help you. And keep going, everybody. This isn't going to last forever. Those of you that can weather the storm, the positive is that when things like this happen, a lot of the competition is gone if you manage to survive the storm. And so people are going to need accommodation after coronavirus has been beaten, aren't they? And so if you are there, then, hey, guess what? You know what? When there is more demand for something, the price of that thing goes up, doesn't it? And so if you have got accommodation to offer still, and an awful lot of the other accommodation providers have gone, then you are going to be sitting pretty. And in terms of acquiring property, after this is all done and dusted, there's going to be some massive opportunities. There really is. And actually, you might not want to wait until it's all finished to start acquiring property. But I'm just going to leave that for another post. So hopefully you found that useful, everybody. I'm going to be checking in more regularly in order to offer more help and advice. So here's to your success through this time in serviced accommodation, and remember guys, your future needs you. Take care.